Hi there. Welcome to New England, home of the Boston Marathon, the Boston Pops Orchestra, and the New England Patriots. Each time the Patriots have gone to the Super Bowl, I've celebrated by cooking up a big pot of New England's most famous cuisine, namely our world-famous Boston baked beans. But this recipe isn't your average canned beans. Like the Patriots themselves, these beans have been taken to a new level, one that's good enough that I hope you even want to serve it at your Super Bowl party. So I hope you enjoy this and give it a try the next time the Patriots come to face your team in the playoffs or even in the Super Bowl. Boston baked beans are famous for using lots of molasses. That's why a simple trick is be sure to grease your cup with a little olive oil first. This will help the molasses pour out of the container and you won't have to scrape them out with a spoon. After this, we mix in our other ingredients, including kosher salt, black pepper, ground mustard, and tomato paste. Many baked bean recipes use lots of ketchup, but that's too sweet for my taste, and I'm glad to avoid using ketchup here. We mix in sugar and vinegar to give it a little bite, along with a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, which is optional, but I like the taste. And then add our secret ingredient, which is ground cloves. All we have to do now is mix it together into a thick sauce, and it's ready to be used. I find this makes a decent barbecue sauce as well. And now for the star of this dish, namely an 11-pound pork shoulder. I like big butts and I cannot lie. When we say pork and beans, we mean pork and beans here. A lot more pork than that little bit of pork fat you get in canned beans from the store. After coating the bottom of the pork shoulder with the sauce, we cut a number of holes in the fat cap. This will allow the marinade to soak through and into the meat. Then we cover the top completely with the sauce. We're now ready to marinate the pork shoulder for 24 hours. The first step is done, and part 2 will come tonight, 12 hours from now. And now it's time to prepare the beans. Here we're using Great Northern beans, but you can use traditional navy beans if you want. Depending on the water you're using, the beans may still be tough after soaking for a long time, and that's why I like using a saltwater brine for the beans rather than the usual tap water. Salt water helps to break down the hard shell and soften the beans, and it won't give the beans a taste that's too salty. That's also why you should not put the soaking beans in the refrigerator. Cover the beans and let them soak on the kitchen counter for 12 hours. And now at last, it's time to start cooking. I've learned from experience that a pot of beans may overflow, so we put a tray on the rack underneath to catch any liquid if the pot leaks. We preheat the oven to 260 degrees, chop up an onion, and then we bring out the bacon. We're using slab bacon here, but your typical breakfast bacon will also work fine. And we drain the beans. We don't want to cook the beans in salt water, so the soaking liquid can be thrown out. And now it's time to bring out a cast iron Dutch oven. Heat the oven on the stove top and get it good and hot. And then we're ready to sear the pork shoulder. This is a step you really don't want to skip because searing the meat gives it an extra flavor that you really can taste. After searing the pork shoulder, we cook the bacon to render out the fat. We don't have to thoroughly cook the bacon because this is going to be slow cooking for a long time. But this also gives it some extra flavor, which will help to make this dish something special. This is also a good reason to use a cast iron pot because nothing sears meat better than cast iron. We add the beans to the pot. And add chicken broth to replace the salt water from the beans. Now we can top the beans with water until they're completely covered. And now we mix in the bean sauce. And we add the pork shoulder to the pot. Be sure to coat the top of the pork shoulder with the rest of the bean sauce. And at last, the pot goes into the oven. Now all we have to do is let the beans slow cook for 10 hours while we get ready for our Super Bowl party. And after cooking for 10 hours, our Boston baked pork and beans are ready. The pork is so tender, the bones pull out with no effort at all. Simply remove the extra fat from the top and be sure to save it for cooking another time. Don't try to lift the entire pork shoulder out of the pot because it will simply fall apart. It's easy to shred the meat with 2 forks. And the beans are tender and full of flavor. Now we can serve our guests some world-famous Boston baked beans, something they're certain to enjoy and remember for a long time, just like the New England Patriots. Not only did the beans come out perfect, but there was an added bonus. These beans were made during one of the coldest winter nights we've had in a while, and it helped to keep the apartment warm as well as filling my home with the wonderful aroma of Boston's famous baked beans. These beans will go great with any tailgate party, and they'll be good enough to serve when watching the Super Bowl or the Boston Marathon or the World Series, or simply enjoying a traditional Saturday night dinner of New England baked beans. I hope you've enjoyed this, and please post your comments below if you give this dish a try. Thank you for watching, and go Pats.